Nobody warns you that the hardest part of budgeting isn't the numbers, it's who you have to become in order to make it all work. They tell you to cut back, spend less, tighten the belt, but they don't tell you what it feels like to bring your cart to the register and silently pray that you're estimated right. They don't tell you how weird it feels to say no to dinner out again when everyone else just swipes and smiles. They don't tell you that being frugal will make you question everything you thought you knew about success, security, and self-worth. Because this isn't just about money. It's about the stories you've been told, the expectations you carry, and the quiet fear that maybe, just maybe, this is as good as it gets. For a long time, I thought frugal living was about being good with money, but it turns out it's about being brave with your life. And that's what I want to talk about today. Not just how to save money, but how to reclaim your peace, rewrite your beliefs, and rise up against a system that wants you stuck. I call it the quiet rebellion. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, I call it the quiet rebellion because it doesn't start with a bang. It starts with a whisper, a moment of refusal, a decision to live differently, even if nobody claps for you, even if people don't get it, and even if your old habits scream louder than your new convictions. Hello, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Sarah. I'm the owner of FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of the international best-selling book, Fundamentally Frugal. Link below. So today I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. These are the things that they don't tell you about frugal living, the stuff that sneaks up on you when you're just trying to save money and end up transforming your whole life. Number one, having debt will hold you back. They don't tell you how heavy debt feels until you try to move forward and realize you're dragging chains. You can't save, you can't rest, you can't breathe without that balance hanging over your head, and you certainly can't sleep. Even when you're making payments and doing the right thing, it can feel like you're stuck on a treadmill that never stops, moving faster, but getting nowhere. Debt shows up in places you don't expect. It's the reason you say no to a weekend trip with your kids. It's the thing that keeps you up all night when the dishwasher breaks or the car starts making that noise again. It makes life feel smaller, tighter, like there's never enough room to breathe, let alone dream. And let's be honest, it affects your mood. You snap more. You second guess yourself constantly. You start to feel like you're bad with money when really you're just buried under it. Frugal living isn't just about saving money, it's about getting your power back. It's about using what you have, cutting what you don't need, and slowly, steadily breaking free. Every dollar you throw at debt isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's a small act of rebellion against everything keeping you stuck. And every payment, that's one link in the chain finally falling away. Number two, it will force you to deal with your money beliefs, even the ugly ones. Frugal living forces you to look in the mirror and not just at your bank account. I'm talking about the stuff underneath, the emotions, the shame, the beliefs you didn't even know were running the show. Things like, I'm so bad with money, or I'll never get ahead, or if I spend this now, I'll regret it forever. These thoughts don't always sound loud, but they just sit under the surface, shaping your choices every single day. Now, I grew up hearing things like, we don't have the money for that so often, it became my default response, even when it wasn't true. That kind of messaging turns into fear. You hesitate to spend on things you can afford because you're so afraid it'll all disappear. You don't trust yourself to make good decisions. You beat yourself up for little things like takeout or forgetting to cancel a subscription, and none of that helps you build a healthy relationship with money. Frugal living helped me start unpacking all of that. It gave me a reason to slow down and ask, where did this belief come from? Is it even mine? It's uncomfortable. It's personal, and it's absolutely necessary if you want to just stop saving money and start feeling free around money. That's where real change begins. Number three, frugal living looks different for special needs families. Let's talk about a reality that rarely gets mentioned. When you are raising a child with special needs, frugal living isn't about skipping lattes. It's about navigating therapy, appointments, fighting with insurance companies, replacing adaptive equipment, and juggling the emotional weight of caregiving along the financial one. It's expensive, unpredictable, and often lonely, and the traditional frugal advice just doesn't cut it. This is me speaking from a very vulnerable experience. There were seasons where our budget didn't revolve around what we wanted to cut back on. It revolved around what was absolutely non-negotiable. Therapy, special foods, doctor's visits out of town, there were many. None of those fit neatly into a typical budget worksheet, and yet we made it work. We had to get creative. Budgeting became visual, jars for savings, picture schedule for track spending, repetitive routines to teach values. We used cash envelopes, yes, but we also relied on grace, community programs, and hard choices. Sometimes it wasn't about saving money. It was about spending smarter and having the flexibility to prioritize our son's needs over everything else. Frugal living in this context isn't about being cheap. It's about being deeply intentional. It's about honoring your family's unique reality and the peace that comes from knowing you're doing the absolute best you can with what you have. That's something no money advice column can teach you. That's true frugal living. Number 4, talking to adult kids about cutting back on gifts is awkward, but necessary. This is one of those conversations no one really prepares you for. The first time I sat down with my grown kids and said, we're scaling back this year. Fewer gifts, less stuff. Nobody needs it. I could feel the lump in my throat. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want them to think I was being stingy or that something was wrong. It felt like I was breaking tradition or worse, breaking a promise. But here's the truth I learned. Most people are carrying the same pressure. The financial strain of gift giving, especially around the holidays, is real. And when one person finally says, let's simplify this, it creates space for everyone else to breathe a little easier too. No one misses the clutter. No one misses the debt. What they remember is the meal, the laughs, the time spent together. These days, I focus on gifts that mean something. Things like a handwritten note or small experiences or homemade goodies. And yes, it took some adjusting, but now it feels more aligned with the life we're trying to live. One with intention, not obligation. Cutting back doesn't mean you love them less. It means you're choosing what matters more. And sometimes the most generous thing you can give is a little less stuff and a whole lot of peace. Number 5, the world won't support your frugal choices, and that's okay. Let's be real. This world isn't set up for frugal living. It's built on Amazon Prime, Target runs, and social media influencers convincing you that your home isn't complete without the latest seasonal decor. Everywhere you look, someone is trying to sell you something, and saying, no thanks, makes you the odd one out. When you decline a night out, skip the group gift, or show up with a homemade casserole instead of DoorDash, people notice. And sometimes they judge. They might tease you, call you cheap, or just say, just this once won't hurt. But here's the truth. Just this once does hurt when you're trying to change your entire life. Frugal living asks you to step outside the norm. It asks you to value your peace over popularity, your future over monetary fun. That's not easy. It can feel lonely, especially when your friends don't get it or your family thinks you've gone overboard. But every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your goals, you say yes to something that does. Your savings, your freedom, your future. That kind of quiet strength doesn't always get applause, but it deserves a standing ovation. Because in a world obsessed with more, choosing less is one of the boldest things that you can do. Number 6, you still make dumb money mistakes, just cheaper ones. Here's the truth no one tells you. Even when you're living frugally, you'll still make dumb money mistakes. You'll buy the wrong thing, you'll forget to return something, you'll get tempted by a sale and impulse buy, then regret it. You're not broken, you're human. Once I bought 20 pounds of flour because it was on a killer sale and I had this fantasy of becoming some kind of homesteading bread-making goddess. Spoiler alert, I used maybe like 5 pounds of it before it got buggy. That's money gone, and that's a lesson learned. And thankfully, it was a small enough mistake that it didn't throw off my entire month. That's the beauty of frugal living. It creates enough margin in your life to absorb the hiccups. You still mess up, but the consequences don't feel quite so catastrophic. You bounce back faster. You don't spiral. You just take a breath, adjust, and keep going. The goal was never perfection. It's not about never messing up. It's about learning faster, recovering quicker, and knowing how to course correct without falling apart and without saying, I've already blown it this month, I'll try again next month. Start right away. And sometimes those $10 or $20 mistakes teach you more than the budgeting blogs in the world ever could. Frugal living doesn't make you flawless. It just makes your mistakes cheaper and your lessons a lot more powerful. Number 7, you may regret not starting sooner, and that's part of it. Every time I add to a savings account or pay cash for fun instead of credit, I think, why didn't I start this years ago? It's one of those thoughts that creep in quietly, then starts getting louder as you see progress. Regret is sneaky like that. It can feel like failure if you let it. But it can also be the thing that pushes you to finally do something different. I spent years thinking I was doing okay because I was just keeping up. We weren't drowning, but we weren't getting ahead either. It was a constant state of financial treading water. I didn't realize how much better life could feel with just a little breathing room until we made those first few changes. And then I couldn't believe we had waited so long. There was a learning curve in there. I totally understand that. But here's the good news. It's never too late. Whether you're 29 or 59, the moment you decide to take control of your money is the moment you start buying back your freedom. And the sooner you start, even if it feels embarrassingly late, the faster you feel the weight start to lift. So yeah, you might regret not starting sooner, but the bigger regret would be not starting at all. So start now. Your future self will thank you over and over and over again. But even if you're starting late, you're still ahead of the person who never started at all. And the confidence you build now from making progress is something that you can pass on to everyone around you. Number 8, frugal living isn't about the money, it's about the peace. There's a moment. If you stick with frugal living long enough, where something shifts, the panic over bills fades, the anxiety when the car makes weird noise starts to quiet down. You don't stop caring about money, but you do stop fearing it. That's when you realize frugal living isn't really about the money. It's about the peace. Peace is checking your bank balance and not feeling dread. It's walking into a store and not needing to buy something to feel better. It's knowing you can handle a surprise medical bill or an unexpected car repair because you have a plan, even if the plan isn't perfect. There's a deep confidence that comes from living below your means and making intentional choices. You start to sleep better. You argue with your spouse less. You stop chasing every shiny thing because you realize you already have what you need and probably more than enough. Frugal living builds that pace slowly with every meal cooked at home, every purchase you pause before making, every dollar you save instead of spend. You're creating a life with more space and less stress. And sure, the savings account matters, but what really matters is how you feel when your head hits the pillow at night. Calm, in control, and free. That peace, you can't buy it, but you can build it. One frugal habit at a time. Number 9, money management is a lot harder if you're single. Managing money on your own is a whole different ballgame. When you're single, there's no second income to fall back on. No partner to split the rent with the grocery bill. Every dollar that comes in is one you earned. Every decision, whether it's how you stretch dinner for another night or whether you can afford that unexpected bill, is yours and yours alone to make. And some days it feels like the whole world is built for couples, from sharing expenses to buy one, get one deals. Everything seems easier when there's someone else contributing. But when it's just you have to be resourceful, sharp, and disciplined in ways that most people don't understand. You learn to plan ahead because no one else is picking up the slack. You become more self-reliant, not because you want to be, but because you have to be. And even though it's hard, there's a quiet kind of pride that comes from knowing you're doing this all on your own. Frugal living as a single person isn't about pinching pennies. It's about building strength, creating margin, and protecting your peace. It might take longer to reach your goals, but when you get there, you'll know every single inch of progress came from your own grit and determination. And that's powerful. Consumerism will always be a struggle. Even when you've decluttered, paid off debt, and stopped impulse shopping, the pull of consumerism will never really go away. It just gets sneakier. It shows up as a feeling of lack. It whispers, "You deserve it," or "just this once won't matter." And sometimes you'll listen because you're tired, because you're human. Frugal living doesn't mean you stop wanting things. It means you start questioning why you want them. Is it to feel better? To look like you have it all together? To fill some kind of void? Those are tough questions, and they don't always come with easy answers. Sometimes you still add things to your cart you don't need. Sometimes you still walk through Target just to look around and walk out with $50 in throw pillows. But now, instead of feeling ashamed, you reflect, you reset, you try again. Because the goal isn't to become some minimalist robot who never shops. The goal is to live with more intention and less regret. The struggle with consumerism is part of the process, and over time, those pauses between wants and buys get longer. You learn to sit with the discomfort of not having and find peace in what you already do. That's progress. And it counts. The difference is now you notice it. You pause. You ask, do I really need this? And sometimes you still say yeah, but the yes is conscious, not automatic. And that's everything. Preparing for an emergency will need to be a priority. Life throws curveballs. It always does. A job loss, a blown tire, a sick pet, a storm. Frugal living prepares you for those moments not because you are paranoid, but because you're smart. And more importantly, because you've lived long enough to know that things happen when you least expect them. It will rain. There was a time when one unexpected bill could throw off our entire month. A dental emergency, a repair no one saw coming, a blown hot water heater. And it wasn't just about money, it was the stress, the scramble, the shame of feeling unprepared. That's when I realized that being frugal wasn't just about cutting back, it was about building a buffer, a little breathing room, a plan. We started setting aside small amounts, building a pantry that could last us a couple of weeks, keeping an envelope with emergency cash tucked away, not out of fear, but out of love. Because being prepared is one of the kindest things that you can do for your future self and your family. Frugal living gives you the margin to prepare, the clarity to prioritize, and the resilience to get through hard things without falling apart. And while no one celebrates quiet preparation, trust me, when the unexpected happens, that quiet preparation becomes your greatest strength. Frugal living is often framed as a list of tips of money-saving trips, and that's fun. But in practice, it's a long-term shift on how you approach life. It challenges your habits, your mindset, and sometimes even your relationships. The process isn't always smooth. It can be uncomfortable and isolating at times, but it also clarifies. Over time, living frugally forces you to define what actually matters and align your spending with that definition. It gives you more than financial margin. It gives you the ability to make decisions based on values instead of urgencies or pressures. It's not glamorous, it doesn't look good on Instagram, but it's sustainable and it's practical. And it puts you in a better position to handle both the unexpected and the expected without unraveling. For many people, especially in midlife, this shift can mean the difference between constantly feeling behind and finally getting ahead. Frugal living isn't the solution to everything, but it's a solid foundation. And for anyone feeling overwhelmed, stretched thin, or unsure how to move forward, it's a realistic place to start. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.